This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
We are back with Cristiane Correa. Yes, she is a life coach. She's so much more than that. There's a lot to her. We're going to get to know her background and get to know all the work she does and really get to tap into that unique ability that you have in, bringing people together, connecting them, and also, of course, helping them through, all the work you're doing to make them better people, in short. How are you today? May I call you Chris?
Yes, you may. Good
Oh,
morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jill. Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure.
same here. And please introduce yourself to our listeners to start. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So my name is Cristiane Correa. I like to say to describe myself as Brazilian by birth, American at heart. So my background is in psychology. I always like being curious about the how people behave and why people behave in a certain way and how the brain works. So this has always been intriguing to me. So my formal education is in psychology,
Yeah.
and towards the end of my bachelor's degree through the University of Massachusetts, I was introducing to positive psychology. Yes.
Ah,
Yeah, and that's when I fell in love with the positive psychology, which is differs from the traditional psychology field, like focusing on traumas and diagnosis and treatments. The positive psychology focuses on people's virtues, strengths, and potential. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do, you know?
oh
I
my
was so
goodness.
excited. Yes,
Well,
yes.
well,
And then
that's what
I,
go
mm.
ahead, please.
Yeah, so and then after knowing about positive psychology, I was like, wait a minute, I need to dive more into this. And then after I graduated, a friend of mine introduced me
Yeah.
to life coaching, which helps people get from point A to point B and focus on their strengths and virtues and their personality. So that's a
Beautiful.
little bit of my background.
Yes. And so now you've been practicing life coaching since 2016, and really you said it's been growing and learning. And this is amazing. You had someone, studying psychology, then introducing yourself to life coaching. Well, let's get into the difference, if you don't mind, between someone who sees a therapist and life coaching. Could you just share a little bit of that difference, please?
Absolutely. This is a great question. People ask me that a lot. And so the therapy itself, they focuses on a diagnosis, treatment, uh, uh, yeah, and treatment. And then life and focus more in the past and present, where the life coaching focuses on the present and the future. And when we focus on potentializing human strengths and virtues, dealing with their fears, it's more in terms of like self-discovery journey. Although both of them helps like self-discovery and build self-confidence and self-esteem, but life coaching, the sessions tend to be more dynamic because the client comes with an issue. We have I have tools that I can help them find their own answers. So the life coaching is more solution based,
Base. Yep.
solution focused, and more dynamic, and working towards the future, I would say. But they both works on humans development.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And also, let's describe a little bit about the work you're doing with your life coaching sessions. Do you mind breaking down a little bit about what life coaching is and how you operate?
Absolutely. So again, I fell in love. I felt like the life coaching was tailor made for me itself. I'm a big dreamer, and I'm living in US, which is like working towards my American dream, and I help people also achieve their American dream. So what I offer, my services I offer is online individual sessions, and it's what I say is basically like an opportunity for self-discovery journey. I know a lot of people dreams of, traveling the world, learning about different cultures, which is great, living different experiences. But I think one of the biggest travel that we have to do in our lives is like the inner self-discovery. There are so many things we think we know ourselves until like we are relating to someone, and then someone out of the sun, that could be like a coworker or even your child, can point out something about you that you never noticed before. So so I help my clients find their blind spots, and also see the value of their characteristics, their positive characteristics that sometimes they take for granted. They think it's so natural, like when someone
Yeah.
compliments you on something that you do, and for you it's like, what do you mean? It's just part of me. This comes so natural. And then we undervalue or underestimate the value that we have with these characteristics. So I help my clients go through that inner journey within themselves and discover like their best version. So it's a beautiful work to do. I feel like very blessed and proud of being
Yeah.
part of
As
someone's
you
inner
should be.
journey.
And now hold on, let me get to a little bit about what really is your specialty in a sense as a life coach, and really what led you to choose that, if you don't mind sharing.
Absolutely. So, like as I said in the beginning, I'm Brazilian at birth and American at heart. So, growing up, I have this combination of cultures. The Brazilian culture, the American culture, and that shaped a lot my identity and who I become and the woman that I become. So, I tend to see now like my Brazilian cultural side more like a motherly figure, like having that warm, welcoming, nurturing personality that I have, like sensitive, cultural
Yeah.
sensitive, and easy to connect and to build trust and relationships. And I see like the United States with like as my fatherly figure in
Aw.
terms of providing me the security that I need, being able to get my degree here, and then like for people who lives in this duality of cultures, we tend to feel like, oh, I don't quite belong
Yeah.
in my home country, but I quite don't belong to the US. So we have like this duality. And I've been learning how to deal with this in terms of, you know what? I am blessed and I can take the best of both worlds. I can choose and pick and choose like what can I do the best from each culture. So that's very enriching, and
Yeah.
my clients appreciate that a lot, and I think that brings a lot to the table, uh, understanding people's heritage,
Yeah.
background. So my specialty is helping my clients embrace their identity, dive into their identity and embrace that as unique and special, and valuing that, because I think people are like trees
Yeah, I was just going to
that,
say, I was going to read that. I
right?
read that in your
Oh.
notes. And the roots, could you share that? Yep, that was beautiful.
Absolutely, yes. So I believe that we are like trees, like the better we are rooted, the better we know where we come from, our heritage, the better fruits and the more growth we get. And something that I wanna share too, that I think it's very interesting. Many people don't might not know that, but like in the Brazilian birth certificate, I have information from my grandparents, where they were
Oh,
born, their profession, their full name. And then when I registered my son for his birth certificate, there was no information about his grandparents.
oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, I got like broken at a point, thinking like,
Yeah.
how much it's a document, it's a very important document, but at the same time, like I want to make sure that I'm writing my parents and my husband's
Oh,
parents a story for him, making the tree of life so he knows more about his grandparents, and where they come from. And that made a big difference in who I am and who I become like when I was reaching my 30s, that I was starting to get my baby fever.
Oh,
Um, I was like scared of being pregnant. I was like, wow, but I don't have any relatives here. I'm by myself. Like,
yeah.
how am I raise a child with no support from my closest family? And then as I was hearing my grandma's story, she got married at the age of 14. She gave birth to 14 kids before
Oh
her
my
30s.
goodness.
And guess what? She was leaving her home country and not
Wow.
having support because she moved from the countryside to the city. And that for me was just like a slap on my face, thinking,
Yeah.
listen, look at your grandmother, everything that she has done, and you were scared of having a baby, like in this beautiful country where you have like these disposable diapers and the best medical care. So that was really like revealing to me. And that's what I say, like learning about your roots is so empowering and it makes you move further. and
Beautifully
and I think
said.
that's what I help people do to like
And,
embrace.
oh, and tell me, your son is how old? He's 6?
He's 6. He's 6 years old, and he loves when I speak Portuguese to him. I read books to him like every single night before bed. And guess what? Like most of his library books, it's in English, but I side translate to Portuguese. And sometimes when I'm tired, I'm like, I'm just gonna read in English because it's easier. It's less work. And he said, "No, mommy, please read in
Oh,
Portuguese for me." So that was, I can see also the mother language like kind of embracing him, like,
of
oh, I
course.
rather have you hear your native language, where I
Oh,
come from. So it's beautiful to see
that
like the full
is.
circle coming.
Yeah, I have an 8 and a 10-year-old, two little boys myself. I know there's nothing like a mother's love, right? To teach
Yes,
them at this age is amazing. And, I also want to ask you a little bit about, life coaching. You say, it focuses on the present and future, making peace, you say, with the past. And that really can help further you even further, right? So
of
let's
course.
also talk a little bit more about some of the tools you're helping your clients build with their identity. But before we do that, I just want to point out you're in Gloucester, Massachusetts, correct?
Yes, Gloucester,
And
Massachusetts.
but you do this in person or via Zoom, just like we are, so you can work with anyone across the United States or worldwide, I guess, right?
Yes, yes, I work with people worldwide, different states and even
Wow.
outside of the country. So I think this is a beautiful thing too that we get to live in this era where
Yeah,
the technology helps us, reach out more people.
sure does. All right, so let's back
So
to those tools that you're using to help your clients. Would you mind sharing a little bit about this? I was reading about the CIS assessment. What is that?
sure. So the CIS assessment, I'm very proud too because this was built by there was the software itself was put together by a Brazilian psychiatrist, and he was able to gather three different theories. One of them is the DISC, which is
Mm-hmm.
worldwide famous. So this tool is amazing because, like I said, it involves three different psychological theories, and it gives my clients like 80 more than 80 pieces of information about themselves. So I would say like this tool is just like looking yourself in the
Yeah.
mirror, like the things that you never realize. Oh yes, once I start describing the dominant personality profile, for example, the dominant profile, they tend to have a direct communication. They go straight to the point. They are result centered, goal centered. Uh, and they don't like a lot of details going around, like just move straight to the point.
Yeah.
And the opposite profile of that is the stability, which is like slow paced. They care more about the relationship rather than
Yeah.
the results. And because there is slow paced and the dominant is fast paced, when they are together, if they're in at the like a high level of intensity of their personalities, that gives like the chaos is set up. If they don't have emotional intelligence, if they don't have this knowledge, because they're gonna ask someone who's the dominant is gonna ask the stable, hurry up, we gotta get this
Yeah.
done, look at the time. And then the stability doesn't know how to deal with pressure. They just they just blank out. they need time.
Yeah.
So once you know, like you have an instability type of personality, you learn how to, you respect that. You learn how to deal with that in a better way. And you learn how to verbalize and just say, you know what, I'm going to do my best, but can I wait until the end of the day to give that to you? I know the results are very important to you, but please give me more time because I want to make sure that I'm doing this with the result that to get the result that you want. So not having that knowledge, having the emotional intelligence, helps. Like a lot of conflicts can either be on at the workplace or at home with the husband and wife, So for me itself, this when I did this tool for my own personality, that was like the best moment of my life. I can see the Chris before this assessment and then the after. My confidence just boosts. I know how I handle pressure. I know how to communicate with different types of people. You build strong relationships. It's just like a domino effect. Like I said before, self-discovery is the most beautiful investment that you can do, and the time, it's so worth it.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. And if you are just tuning in, I want to remind you all we are here with our friend Cristiane Correa. She is a life coach based out of Gloucester, Massachusetts, and really very unique. And I love her niche of helping people get to their roots, establishing their identity, and working on improving themselves. Can I ask now? Me some examples of the types of people you've worked with. Maybe give me some, scenarios without using people's names, but tell me some of the things you're helping people with and what your life coaching can do.
So I help people who are going through transitions in life. So I like to see life like as a video game, like if you can metaphorically say, you're at the first phase, you have these characters, you
Yeah.
find out the tools and resources, to get to where you need to go to. And then your life change, the phase change, you move up a stage, that could represent becoming a mom, experiencing an empty nest, establishing a healthy romantic relationship, or getting advanced in a career. So the scenario changes, the personality changes, the characters changes, the dynamic changes. So whatever you used to do on the last stage doesn't quite fit at this moment. So having this awareness, and like the better we can adapt to this new phase and getting the resources and the tools and resources that we have at hand, the better we can succeed in life. So it's mainly this. I help leaders, professionals, parents, people who are maybe just getting through divorce. It's like a whole new world being a single parent, all of those transitions that happens, it's important to have a professional by your side, giving you the emotional support, getting you centered. And it's very different from talking to a friend per se. A friend always gonna give advice. Oh, I went through divorce. Oh, you don't take. They're gonna give you advices based on their experiences, differently from a professional who will give you the tool, make you connect with your own values, what makes sense for you, and finding your own unique response and journey. So that's how I help my clients.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. And can I just ask, I know, getting to know you originally, it's always good to find out more about your background. Could you talk a little about some of the things that, have led you here? A lot of obstacles you've overcome. Could you share a little bit about some of the obstacles? Would love to hear some of that too.
Yeah, there are many obstacles that we overcome. But I would say, certainly when I recently, as soon as I graduated, right after I become a mother, and then I was already, of course, I was already married, and then doing my profession. So that was like my biggest dream, helping people in their self-discovery journey, help them achieve their American dream. And then I was also like very passionate about becoming a mom and like the importance of raising a human being.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, so the struggles that we women, we usually go through, that we more or less resources.
Totally.
And then being a solopreneur, I think that was one of the hardest obstacles, because I'm like, one thing is to know the techniques, to know how to do your job, but
Yeah.
once you're a solopreneur, you have to learn about the business side of of your practice,
Yeah, it's a
work dealing
lot.
with marketing, exposing yourself on social media. I'm
It's time consuming. I know. And you're wearing all these hats. You're a busy woman, Chris.
Yes, yes. So definitely, this is like challenging, but it's also like so worth it, and it's inspiring for many people too, for many women, and I like navigating women through that, through those transitions and challenges too.
Beautiful. And can I just ask, are you mentoring anyone? Or are do you have someone that you look up to that you credit? I know your friend is the one that kind of introduced you to this. Who would you like to, talk about that kind of guided you here? Was it your friend, would you say? But it's also you, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, there are many peoples. I would say, like, God is
Yeah,
beautiful. Like, He always put angels into my life at different stages,
of
different
course.
people at different settings. So I would say, like, my therapist, because I'm a child of divorced parents. Like, my parents got divorced when I was 3 years old. And then I developed, I was like very shy, quiet girl, and I had a hard time expressing my anger. Like, today, looking back, I'm aware of that. At the time, I didn't know. So I was like biting my nails, my fingernails. And then my mom was like, you know what, I need to bring Chris to therapy. And so I started therapy when I was 7 years old, and I've been on and off in times of transitions. So my therapist, I'm still in touch with her since I was a little girl. She follows me on social media. We talk once in a while whenever I need help. I have no problem at all, no stigma in seeking mental
Yeah.
health or other professionals, from life coaches too. So she's been my mentor throughout my life, like moving to a different country, getting my bachelor's degree, marital crisis that we all go through, you know. But she's like my mentor, I would say, and she's the one who inspired me
Beautiful.
to be in this profession.
Well, I'm excited you're here and so grateful to get to know you. And I hope our listeners and viewers are too. Got to ask about some of your accomplishments as well. You have many as a mom, of course. And I also was reading that you were and you are a co-author of a book. Could you share a little bit about that?
Correct, correct. So I'm co-author of the book. It was published in Brazil, and the translation would be like Pact for Success,
Mm-hmm.
and in Portuguese it's called Malas Prontas para o Sucesso, and that's like uh, it's like a group of coaches that came together and put this book together. So there are different uh, tools and techniques that helps people move through their professional, financial, emotional growth. So it's very unique. I love being part of this project, and it was like a unique experience. Like, I wrote this book when Luca was like 6 months year old, and people say like, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know. And I
Mm-hmm.
managed to do, and God was by my side, and again, having all the other support that I had. Even though I didn't have my relatives, I have really good friends, and I have built lots of good relationships. So that's one of my biggest accomplishments in my career. Uh,
Beautiful. And also
the
I read that
second,
you had your own show. Tell me about this.
right. So as soon as I moved to Gloucester, I was invited to do this show, and we co-founded this show. It's called The Best of Both Worlds. We has to do with a lot of my identity, talking about the Brazilian culture, the American culture. So we get to interview a lot of community leaders. Do we did it even we did like an event for entrepreneurs. The mayor, Greg Verger, was there with us. The senator, Bruce Starr, was there with us. And we are trying to put like the communities together and introduce. So that was a way of uh, uh, introduce each other cultures and kind of like build friendships and partnerships between the two communities here in Gloucester. And the TV show was local here at the Cape Ann. That was an
Amazing.
incredible experience. And then lastly, I was finally, I got this news lately that I was elected the top 10 women life coaches in USA in 2025. So
Congratulations. This is exciting. This is the Global Woman Leader magazine, correct?
correct. And it will be published. The article, I wrote a 2-page article, and it will be published soon in June, the first 2 weeks of June. So it's also like a big accomplishment. I'm using all this channel to reach out like people and to serve people. And it's been very rewarding, and I'm very happy with all of this happening.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And would you mind, I know there's some advice you want to give to our listeners today about being kind and so much more. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Sure. So if there was one single advice that I can give to anyone, it would be like, be kind to yourselves. And it seems like very simple, but at the same time, it's so complex. When you think about, your inner voice,
Yeah,
when we make a mistake, when we forget to do something, forget to pick up the child at
yeah,
school, or when you forget something, like we tend to be very self-critic to ourselves, like thinking, oh,
totally.
how stupid I am, why did I do this again?
Yeah.
So watching that inner voice and transforming that, like going from being a self-critic to being your own cheerleader, it's like a big shift. It seems simple. It's not, but if there is one thing that you could do for yourself, please be kind to yourself. And that goes beyond your inner voice. It's also important to know that you set boundaries so people don't mistreat you, and respect your own limitations. We are humans, we are not superheroes, and we have our
Nope.
own limitations. So learning how to say no, setting boundaries, I think this is also part of like the being kind to yourself.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here, for joining us. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and all you do, and excited to, have people get to know you further.
Nice. Thank you. It was such a pleasure being here too. Thank you, Jill, for having
Thank
me
you.
here.
Now, tell us
Yes,
how we
and
can
thank you
reach
for the
out to you,
listeners.
please. Website, phone number, social media. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. So my website is Cristiane Correa
Mhm.
Coaching.com. My social media is the same, Cristiane Correa Coaching. And for people who rather reach out by phone, text messages, 857-888-9492. I'll be happy to help you
Beautiful.
have all the listeners, who's ready to take on this self-discovery journey and become your best version for sure, and have more
Beautiful.
fruits.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to our next conversation. Really, Chris, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and can't wait till we connect again. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you
You
again.
too, sweetheart. Bye bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.